Right, hiya everyone and welcome to Liverpool Hope University. So this event that we're running this afternoon is aimed at parents, carers, guardians, and it's just to give a little bit more information about the support services available. So your son and daughter will sort of be in the the transition stage now, and they'll be receiving a lot of information about the transition events and things that are happening during the summer. So they'll probably find that they're getting invited to a lot of Zoom sessions and there's a lot of information being shared. So the information this evening is sort of to give you an idea of the support teams that are available at Liverpool Hope. And what is available for your son and daughter. So I'll go through a couple of slides. We have got Ginny with us this evening, who is part of our careers team, head of our careers team. We've got Mark, who's head of our student funds team, and we'll also be joined by John shortly, who is head of our student development and wellbeing team. So when it comes to their part, they'll give you more information about their departments and what their team offers students as well. Okay, so a little bit about why university, and it might be that this is the first time you've experienced university with your son or daughter. It might be that you've been through this before with other children or other family members. So it might all be new to you, or you might be sort of an old hand at it as well. But university is about new experiences, gaining new experiences. It's about independence and freedom, meeting new friends, doing things that are sort of outside your comfort zone, courses that maybe your son and daughter are really interested in, or something that they have felt passionate about but never really pursued it at school or college. So it's all about new experiences and opportunities for them as well. And obviously it's an investment. We see it as an investment for the future. And I'll give you a few little facts about sort of graduate premiums and things like that. So this was from some research that was done in 2019. So on average, up to the age of 30, those with an undergraduate degree earn about 4,500 more per year than a non-graduate. And again, this rises if they decide to do a postgraduate or a master's course after they've done their undergraduate, which a lot of our students do decide to do. So again, you can see sort of the incentives there with the money, but also some careers just ask that you have a degree in order to be able to go on and progress in that career. So some of the things that we do at Liverpool Hope are teacher training, social work, so degrees that ask for a specific undergraduate degree are some of the ones that we do here. I'll pass over quickly to Ginny, who's part of our careers and employability. She leads our team there. So she will talk to you a little bit about some of the activities that go on within her team. Right, Ginny, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kirsty. And good afternoon, everybody. It's very good to speak to you all. As Kirsty says, my name's Ginny. I head up the Careers and Employability team here at Liverpool Hope. And basically, we offer, as you can see there, a variety of different skill development activities, as well as the usual career support of CV writing and writing your application letters. We make sure that we are involved with students right from the word go. So as soon as the students start with us at university, we introduce ourselves in the first week, and then we make sure that we are part of the curriculum. So we are part of every course, every subject, right from the word go within the curriculum. And as part of that, we want to make sure that all our students know exactly what kinds of things are on offer to them and how they can get the most out of their time at university in parallel to studying for their degree. So things like Hope Works that you can see there, that's part-time employment opportunities on campus. We realise that quite a lot of students come from outside the Liverpool area and may not feel comfortable trying to find part-time work outside of the university. So these are jobs that are paid, they're on campus for 10 hours per week at a maximum. And that could be working in our catering, it could be working in the library, or working in some of the subject areas, helping with research. You could even find that they're working for me, working in the careers department. As well as that, we advertise opportunities in the local area. So there is the chance to find paid work outside of the university as well. And we ask our local employers to advertise with us on what we call our My Careers Centre, which every student has access to right from the word go. I think it's very important that students think about how they can enhance their degree while they're at university, because employers expect people to have developed and learnt different skills alongside the subject that they're actually studying. And the Careers and Employability team are very much focused on making sure that students have those ideas. So it could be that there's a placement or an internship that's linked to your subject area that we can help you to access. They could be working just one day a week, or it could be a couple of weeks placement during their holidays time. Or it could be that people decide to take a year out in their third year and have a placement year that's paid employment. And again, it can be linked to the course, or it could be linked to something that students are just generally interested in finding out more about. All of this leads to sort of the graduate employment support that we can offer to our students. Next slide, please, Kirsty. Okay, so how does your course make you employable? It doesn't matter what subject you're actually studying, it's the skills that you actually develop while you're studying those subjects. So it could be that your subject offers you the opportunity to become an expert in your area, or it could be that the course actually leads straight into job prospects. For example, your social work or teaching degrees or engineering or accountancy, all of these provide you with the skills that you'll need to go on and be an expert in those areas. But it could be also that within your degree, you're learning about your writing skills, your presentation skills, and it could be that your research area is actually linked to a particular interest within that subject that might also be of particular interest to an employer that you're applying to later on. Okay, again, we can help you identify those alongside your tutors. So thinking about your degree and your time at university, think about the different opportunities that are available to make the most of those 3 years. The 3 years goes incredibly quickly, has to be said. 1 minute we're welcoming you to the university, and the next we're shaking your hand as you cross the platform wearing your cap and gown. So, you know, it's an exciting but very swift period in your life. So part of the opportunities there, I've mentioned about the placement year opportunities, but you could also study abroad if you want to, and that could be for a term or it could be for a year, usually in your second year, and the international team would be able to help to identify the different universities around the world that offer your subject, and it's an exciting thing to do. My son did it for a year. He went to Canada for his third year of a 4-year course and had the time of his life, to be quite honest. The placement year and the internship opportunities are really important to consider. A lot of employers now treat that as an extended interview process. So if you're working for a graduate recruiter for a third year for a placement, it could well be that you get offered a job for when you finish your degree. You would come back for a 4th year to do your 3rd year of study, if you see what I mean. And employers really think that this is an excellent way for them to find out about you and for you to find out about their structure, about their area of expertise. So it's, if you like, an extended interview, and you would get a very good opportunity for a job at the end of that. There are lots of different course activities and trips that are outside of your curriculum that are extra. And if you get opportunities for those with your course, grab them with both hands, because again, it looks fantastic on your CV, but it does give you that sort of character building experience that employers are actually looking for. Alongside your degree, you have the opportunity as well to study for 2 different awards that the university offers. One is the Service and Leadership Award, and the other is the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award. Now, these are based on volunteering. and you have the opportunity to get credit for anything extra that you're actually doing. It could be that you're involved with something within the university, with the student union. It could be that it's something to do with sports, for example, or it could be volunteering in the local community. Alongside that, we provide training in leadership, in team building, and also in your communication skills, as well as equality and diversity. There are opportunities there as well to get recognition for any skill development activities that you're interested in. We like you to build your own award because it's a very personal award. And again, it's something that employers really value because it's that added extra that you can then demonstrate in a job interview with different examples of how you've dealt with different situations or developed relevant skills. So again, I would strongly recommend you do that. And finally, you'll see there Global Hope. Now, Global Hope is the university's charity where every summer, when we don't have a COVID situation, we take students abroad to a variety of places. There are 2 or 3 countries in Africa that we go to. For example, Uganda, we go to South Africa. We also go to places like Peru and to Brazil and various different cities in India and also Sri Lanka. And these are usually 3-week volunteering programs. They're not to be taken lightly. You are working hard while you're there, but again, really character building and fantastic experience. I took a group of students to Uganda a few years ago, mainly to work in schools and to get involved in the local charities in the town that we were in Uganda, and it was unbelievably brilliant, the experience there. So again, consider those sort of different opportunities when you go to universities. All of these count towards your CV and your job applications. And there are plenty of other extracurricular activities you can get involved with the student union as well. Lots of sports societies and different areas. And if there isn't a society there that you're interested in when you first come to university, think about setting up one for yourself. The student union are very supportive in helping you to set up your own society within the student union. So basically what I would say is I look forward to welcoming the students when they come in at the end of September, beginning of October, and I'm happy to meet with the students and to tell them about the exciting opportunities that we have here at Hope. So I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Ginny. Okay, if anybody does have any questions as we go along, there's a Q&A box at the bottom, so stick them in and then we'll come back to them at the end, and the team can answer any that's involving them as well. So just before I pass on to some more of our support teams, what I'd just like to give a little bit of information on is sort of our campus life here. So your sons and daughters may have already visited Hope. A lot of our open days have been virtual the last sort of 18 months, but the past couple of weeks we have been running live physical campus tours here at our Hope Park campus and our creative campus, which is close to the city centre. So they may have had a chance to visit already. If they have, they would have seen the campus and seen the facilities and that type of thing. But it's a really safe campus, both of them. We have 24-hour security on campus. Our security team are fantastic. The students sort of get to know them on a one-to-one basis, first name basis. They're always here looking out for students. The campus itself is very self-contained, so everything our students need is here on campus. So we have our halls of residence. Next to our halls of residence, we have our lecture theatres. Then we have our social spaces, our big main canteen area. So everything is situated pretty close together as well. So it is really self-contained and student orientated. As Ginny said, there's a lot of social activities that go on around campus. We have things like our Hope Social, which involves a lot of students. We have film nights, quiz nights, things like that to get students really involved. So there'll be plenty of activities and social events going on, especially in the first couple of weeks when we start as well, to get students really settled in and making friends and feeling comfortable in university. I'll pass over to John now, who heads up our student development and wellbeing team, and he'll go through some of the services that are available from his team as well. Thanks, John.
Hello everyone. So I look after the teams that basically provide well-being support for students at the university. Now I won't go through these complete lists, but we offer several services. The first team is the learning support team. We provide advice and special support and assistance to students who've got a disability, learning difference such as dyslexia, or a mental health difficulty, or an ongoing health condition. Um, that team will look after making sort of adjustments and identifying or facilitating any support that those students might need. And they can become, well, the contact details, if you have any questions, I can pop in the Q&A. I'm not sure where they are on these slides. I mean, we've also got a mental health and wellbeing team, which is a very busy team, especially during lockdown. It's been very busy. That's, sorry, Kirsty, can you go back one for us? So that wellbeing team really have been supporting students and will continue to do so with all manner of any kind of sort of personal or emotional difficulties. Now, it's understandable new students starting at the university who are coming away from their families and their friendship and support networks can experience a range of feelings, ranging from loneliness, feelings of isolation, bit anxiety about the new environment and having to make new relationships and friends. Um, or they could just like you and I, experience life difficulties whilst they're at university. Um, when that's the case, they can access the counselling service at the university to try and address those issues so that they can remain engaged with their studies. Okay, next slide. Fantastic, that's great. We are across all services, but I'll cover the other services shortly. We offer daily drop-ins, so any students who experience difficulties can simply join access a mental wellbeing professional um, between the hours of 12 and 2 p.m. every day during term time. That gives them the opportunity to briefly talk about what the difficulty they're experiencing. We can assess where that student's at in relation to any concerns that we might have for their welfare. And normally after that, we'll arrange some ongoing appointments if that's necessary. That really applies to the counselling team, but also the mental health team, which I'll also speak about now. We employ 2 mental health qualified registered mental health nurses who provide support for students with pre-existing mental health conditions or students who develop acute onset of mental health difficulties whilst at university, such as anxiety, etc. Those staff will provide ongoing support for the students, whether that be short term or right throughout the duration of a student's stay at university. The team also makes sure that students have access to secondary NHS mental health care services where they feel that that's necessary. So it's a fairly joined up approach between local NHS services and the mental health team here at the university. It's a very confidential and private service. We don't let any lecturers or anybody know unless the student wants us to let those people know, and students can access those services normally in normal times face to face. We also offer a telephone appointment provision, and we also now engage in, which is probably the most popular medium at the moment, video call via Zoom, so students can access support wherever they are. They don't literally need to physically attend the Students and Support Wellbeing Hub, and they can access support from anywhere. So support for disabled students. Any students with a learning difficulty or disability will normally be assessed by the staff here at the university, the learning support team, and will identify if they've got support needs or any adjustments that the university can put in place. We'll tend to put together something called a learning support plan. That's just a plan which lists how the university will make adjustments to support that student or any support that that student may require. And that's shared with any academic staff and other support staff who have a role in that student's teaching and learning. Once we've drafted those learning support plans, we send the draft copy to the student first. If the student's happy with the content and approve it, we then release it to the rest of the staff around the university, the lecturers, etc. So it's always done 100% through student consent, and anything that they feel we may have missed, we'll cover those issues in the learning support plan and put that back out there. Now, I would encourage any students that have a disability or a learning difference such as dyslexia or a mental health condition to let the university know as soon as possible, even before ahead of you start at the university. There's two reasons for that. One, we can make sure we've got your support in place when you get here. Two, we can make sure that if you are receiving any kind of NHS support in your home region, we'll try and assist you and put you in touch with services locally. And we'll also make sure that if there's any transition support, we can get that in place also. So that's what the learning support team can do. Now, eligibility for support from the team. I won't go through this list. Basically, if you've a disability or you've received support in school or college for any kind of learning difference or mental health condition or health condition, then it's likely that you'll be able to access adjustments from the university and support. We can also assist you with applying for government disabled students allowance, which is not money, it sounds like it is, but it's financial support towards support workers such as dyslexia tutors, etc. So we can also help with students who are struggling or need support applying for DSA. So again, get in touch with us before you start. The sooner you get in touch with us, the more chance there is of having everything in place. The longer you leave applying for disabled students allowances, it can sometimes take 10 to 12 weeks for your application to be processed during busy periods. So it's in your best interest to contact the university as early on as possible if you feel you're going to need any form of support or adjustments once you arrive with us in relation to disability. I've spoken to the head of residential life, and I can talk a little bit about the support that's available for residential students. So the university employs a team of senior resident tutors who are either final year or postgraduate students, or they may have recently finished as a student at the university, and they're attached to each of the university halls of accommodation and provide pastoral support, advice and assistance to any students who need that type of support who are residing in halls. We've also got this sort of campus operative team, or the security team, if you like, have all had training around how best to support students in halls. So they also form part of that safety net for students in halls where support's needed. Life in halls, as Kirsty mentioned before, there's a program, there's a clear and set program to make sure that students have social activities and social engagement outside of going to lectures and studies. It's important that the university recognises it's important that a social life and a work balance is a healthy one, and not to and so they put on a program of activities. I won't go through them all again. Kirsty did mention some trips, and entertainment evenings, but gala dinners are a big part of that program, where students will have the opportunity to get dressed in the glad rags and attend a very formal dinner, which with nice food. I know Ginny and I have attended some of those gala dinners as guests, and it's a fantastic opportunity for students to really get into the process of when they work for organisations who hold these events, of really how to engage yourself in those type of situations. It's a very good social event, and normally there's a pub trip planned after the gala dinner, so it's an enjoyable thing. It's normally an enjoyable event for students. And again, there's a weekly, if not fortnightly, What's On guide, which lists all the social events and activities going on. Students can look at that and dip in and out as they see fit. Yeah.
Great, thanks, John. I think some of you might have the name Laura Seddon that's up on our screen, she's been part of like getting involved with the transition activities and things like that. So you might have already met Laura when she's talked about accommodation and residential life team and how they support students as well in some of the other sessions. But if you are living on campus, you will get to know your resident tutor really well and our resident student team as well, which is good. I will now hand over to Mark, who's going to give us a little bit of information. So your son and daughter should have already sorted out all their student finance applications and things like that already, but Mark will go over this with you and a little bit about the sort of the repayment side of things as well that you are a little bit unsure about at the moment. Thanks, Mark.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Pringle. I'm the Head of Student Finance at the university. So myself and my team deal with everything to do with students and money. Two sides to the team, a funds team and the student finance team. And we're based in the ground floor of the Gateway building. If you've been on campus, you should know where that is. So we're open sort of 9 till 5 every day. And we're here to help and support students as best as we can with regards to finance. We do appreciate that it can be a bit of a minefield, especially if you haven't had experience of student finance before. So we're here to talk to students, talk to parents about anything relating to finance. One of the points I would make is it really important that students, if they've got issues, actually engage with us. Many years ago, I was young, and I can honestly say that when I was at a young age, I sort of buried my head in the sand when it came to money, and I realise now that it wasn't the best thing to do, and it didn't do me any favours at all. So if any of your sons and daughters have difficulty with finances, whether it's applying for student finance, or whether it's paying for their accommodation or paying tuition if they're paying their own tuition, it's important they come to see us as quick early as possible, and hopefully we'll be able to sort them out and support them in the best way possible. So in terms of generally about student finance, no upfront costs, so you're able to borrow the £9,250 for your tuition fees, and repayments are based on earnings, not borrowing. So therefore, it doesn't really matter how big the student debt is, you'll only repay based on how much you earn going forward in the future. And there's a little table in a couple of slides which will illustrate that. You only start repaying your debt the 1st April after graduation, and it's written off after 30 years. 30 years probably sounds a long time. But I think the latest study or research done by the Institute of Fiscal Studies said that 83% of students won't repay back all their student debt within 30 years. Because the repayments are actually really small. So in many ways, it doesn't necessarily matter the size of the debt, because the vast majority of it won't get repaid back anyway. It's not treated as a normal debt, so no impact on credit scores or future loans. So if your son or daughter decides to get a mortgage in the future and they've got £40,000 or £50,000 worth of student debt, that isn't taken into account when the mortgage application is put through there. And there's additional support available for those disabled, childcare needs, or scholarships. Details of our scholarships can be found on our web pages. There's a few of those, so if you go onto them, they will be able to detail what scholarships are available, and it also details the application form and what you need to do with regard to that. So this slide relates to English students. So as you can see, tuition fee loan, which is the 3rd column, everybody can get £9,250 for tuition as long as they haven't had previous study. But then the maintenance loan, which is basically for your living expenses, so to pay for your accommodation and all of the other expenses throughout the course of the year, that's all based on household income. So this is based on outside London and living away from home. If you're actually living at home, you wouldn't get quite as much as this, but this is based at living away from home. So as you can see, 25,000 or less, the maintenance loan £9,488, and then as the household income rises, so the amount of maintenance loan reduces. So this is obviously all based on the government thinking. This is not within the university control, but obviously the thought process here is that if parental income is very low, the student will get a high maintenance loan, but as their income rises, because the loan is reduced, then there's more expectation on parents to actually help with the expenses as they're going through university. So just bear that in mind, and obviously it's important, I think, from a budgeting perspective, that you speak to sons and daughters if you are prepared to help or able to help, just to give them some idea what you're going to pay, whether it's a weekly allowance, monthly allowance, or accommodation or whatever. And it would just help your son and daughter budget as they're going through the year. So in terms of repayments, we've got the table here. So you don't pay anything until you start earning £27,295. And then at 28,295, as you can see, the monthly repayments is £7.50. It just goes up from there. So as I say, these repayments are very small, and that's why the vast majority of students will repay back all their loans going forward. And to be honest, you know, it's obviously a bit of a hot topic of whether students should have to repay their loans going forward. But I think one part of the sort of government policy we do agree on is the fact that loan repayments are small. It wouldn't be a great motivation if you were coming to university and then sort of 80 or 90% of your salary was used to repay back loans. These amounts are very small and will probably won't really be noticed as you go through your working life. So this is an example. So Emma earns £31,500, monthly gross income 2625, pensions, tax, national insurance, and the student loan repayment of £31.50. So in terms of probably another easier way to explain it is you actually pay 9% of everything over £27,295. So in this case, because Emma earns 31.5, the difference between 31.5 and 27,000 is £4,205. So 9% of that is £378. Divide that by 12, and it comes out at £31.50. So as I say, a relatively small amount of money that would be repaid back going forward.
Great, thank you, Mark. I can see we're getting a couple of questions coming through already, which is great. Like I say, if you've got any more, just start sticking them in the Q&A. So I think just to sort of finish up, I think with the next steps, it is just about supporting your child over the next couple of weeks and months until they start the end of October. If they're living in halls, we have like a moving ins weekend for them. And then all the fun begins. If they're not living in halls, we do something called a non-residential, like an orientation type day, which is just before moving in weekend. So we offer that to non-resident students, which is a day where they get to meet students that aren't living in halls like them, students on their course. They get to go on a campus tour around the university, see the facilities, again, meet the support teams and that type of thing. We do have a specific page on our website dedicated to parents, and I've put the link up here, but you can find the link on the webpage. So and we just send out monthly newsletters and updates on anything that we think that you'll find interesting or important. So if you would like to receive these, then you can go onto our website and sign up. Like I said before, campus tours have resumed again, physical campus tours for Hope Park and Creative Campus. So at the moment, we're touring every Tuesday and Thursday every week. We do 2 times a day. So at the moment, it's 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. If those days don't work for your son and daughter, then they can get in touch and we can arrange an alternative day. That's no problem. But if they would like to have a little look around the university and see the facilities and the buildings, we've even been arranging for them to meet with certain departments and things like that where possible. So if they did want to come and have a little visit before they start, then they're more than welcome. And the last one, prepare for tears. Hopefully not too many, but we do get a lot of tears in the first couple of weeks, and students getting homesick, missing home, that type of thing. But like I say, our support teams and all our staff are here to support students throughout. So hopefully they'll be okay and they'll get through it. Well, thank you for all our support teams for joining us today. There's a couple of questions starting to come through, mainly there's a couple about dyslexia and things like that, John. So would you say just tell them to get in touch via email?
Yeah, I was just going to reply to that, send a second reply. Initially, if you send an email, the team will ring if you provide telephone contact details, or if you prefer to meet via video call, you can also make that request. So the email address I've given you, sdw@hope.ac.uk, if you send that there, and the next thing that will happen is likely somebody will contact you from there.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. We've had another question about recording. So all of our transition sessions will be recorded. So how we're doing it is sort of on a weekly basis. So any sessions that are held sort of Monday to Friday will all be sent the following week. So yes, all sessions are recorded and they will be sent out to you as well. Right, let me just check if we've got any more questions coming through.
Kirsty, there was a couple of questions that went into the chat rather than the Q&A.
Right.
For my area, there was questions about placements and how they're found and whether they're paid or voluntary. I can say the placements that we advertise are paid placements. We don't really encourage unpaid placements. And basically what I would say is, because each individual would like a different type of placement, is we have placement officers who are based in the Employability Hub. So you can come in and have a chat to them about the type of placement that you'd be interested in, and they will help to source those placements, signpost to where they're advertised. And also employers actually come onto campus. So we encourage employers to come into each of the subject areas to talk about different opportunities within that subject. And we also hold placement fairs. So we have employers coming in who are advertising and looking for students so that they can actually have a chat to students face to face. So basically, if it's unpaid, it's voluntary work. If it's a placement or an internship, we encourage them to be paid.
Okay, brilliant. Mark, I think there's one for you asking, what's the deadline for student finance?
Yeah, I mean, the deadline to guarantee you have your money in place for the beginning of October has actually passed. That was in May, so you should really have applied before May. But as I say, that's just a deadline to guarantee the money. The deadline hasn't passed in terms of when can I apply. It's just, it means that if you apply now, you might not necessarily have it in place for when you start your course. Our advice is strongly make that application as quickly as possible. And then depending on how complicated the application is, you may or may not have your money by September time. But yeah, please apply as early as possible. And if you run into any difficulties when you're applying, just give us a shout and we'll try and support you as we can.
Okay, brilliant. We've got one in that's asking, how can students meet other students before coming to campus? So if anybody's got Facebook, that's a really good way. At the moment, we've got a like a New Starters 2021 group set up on Facebook. So we've got a lot of students that are joining that as well and meeting new students who are starting in September. So that's a really good way. And like I say, if you are living on campus, then we have moving in weekends, so you get to meet everybody in your halls of residence. And if you're not living on campus, we have our orientation day, which is aimed at non-residents as well. So you'll get to meet students that way as well before your course actually starts. Mark, just one more saying, how can my son apply for a scholarship?
Okay, so the university has a number of scholarships which are available. I think the best thing to do is to go on our website, which is www.hope.ac.uk/student finance, and you'll find the scholarships page on there with details of the scholarships available. We'll also detail how to actually make the applications.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, I think we've got through them all now. There doesn't seem to be any more coming through. Like I said, this will be recorded and sent out to everybody as well, so you can catch up again if there's anything that you'd like to go back over. And I'd just like to stress, get in touch with us if you've got any problems, any questions. All our teams are here to help and support your son's daughter, and even yourselves. If you've got any questions at all, just please get in touch. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.